So, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. And tonight I'm going to do a short segment of this show, which is very, very nerdy, I might say. It's a little bit about languages. So, I was following a blog, actually pretty good blog, which is called, let me see what it's called. It's called Dream Prague. Okay, so I was following an online blog, Dream Prague, and there was an American woman who was complaining quite a lot about the fact that no in Czech can have very different sort of meaning. Like it can be like a no, or it can be like no, sort of just interjection without any specific connotation of sense put into it. So, of course, a lot of Czech people were like, "Yay! This is great!" So, of course, foreigners wouldn't understand what we mean, and of course, it's nice to feel unique and everything like that. But I thought, this really kind of reminds me of Swedish. So, first, I'll read an example of what this is all about from Czech. And of course, if somebody thinks that there is some problems with my pronunciation, of course, first of all, I immediately apologize. But anyway, so there is a person, David Sarif, who writes, Čeština je pro cizince tak matoucí. Chlapeš, jo? No. Tak to uděláš? No, jo, no. Ty si to neudělal. No, ne, no. So basically, this is the exchange, which should be for a foreigner completely sort of crazy, and nobody who is from outside of Czech Republic should be able to understand this. But then I sort of wrote that I'm a foreigner, and I think that I more or less understand that because in Swedish there are quite a few words for yes, like you can say yes in a very different ways. Like what it comes to my mind immediately, there's at least four different ways of saying the word ja. So there's like a straight Swedish ja, and then there's ja, and then there's and on top of that, there are also um, same word, but it's you, which is also a ya, but it is kind of a ya where you are trying to sort of make a point. So when somebody is arguing with you, and first you make a statement, and another person counters the statement, and you say back. Like, for example, you say, ja, det här är röd bil, and somebody else says, no, so one moment, sorry, I'm confusing languages. I'm sorry. I'm meant to say that in English. So if somebody says like this, that, yeah, this is a red car, and the second person answers, no, it's a green car. And then the first person says back, but yeah, this is a red car. So you're kind of countering the statement. You're reclaiming your first statement. Then you say you. So it's also a yes, but in a different way. And then there's of course a slight dialectal difference because, for example, in Finnish Swedish, which is my first Swedish dialect, the people just use or yo, and it's both of them are also yes. It's both yeah, just with a slight different way. Anyway, so okay, we've talked about at least three ways of saying ja, and then there is you, and then there's ja, And then on top of it, there's also nah. I know this sounds a little bit strange, but nah, it's like um, it's um, it's sort of like no, which is nay, but you can say nah, and it's like not yes, not no. It's in between. It's kind of something in between. And so there's nah, which could kind of mean a yes, maybe no. And then there's nya, which is very clear, very distinct, both yes and no. It's nya. I know it's crazy, but it's Swedish. And then if somebody says nah, like no, you didn't, and then in Swedish you could say nah, and then this other person he could answer you, and you it's like oh yes it is, and in Swedish like oh yes it is in English, and in Swedish you would just say yoo and I mean, how on earth would you explain it to foreigners? And seriously, I've seen some old people, especially here in Malmo, who would use who would have like a small conversations um and it would be like first a lady comes to the shop and she wants to buy some cookies and she goes like kakorna ja, and it means cookies, yes. And the lady behind the counter, she points at the cookies and she asks the customer once more, "Kokoja?" Uh, and the customer says back, "Yeah, yeah." And then the lady behind the counter says, "Yeah." So you have like four different kinds of "yeah," and they're just thrown sort of back and forth because "yeah, yeah." It's like, oh, of course, it's obvious. So it's another way of saying yes, just with a slight difference. And also a "yeah," the length of it, especially could like it's a little bit different depending on which province you come from, and then there is a northern way of saying, and in Finland and in northern Sweden, the way of saying yeah, it's also often pronounced. It's not just a yaw or you, but it's I don't know how people can do that. Sometimes when older ladies do it for a long time, I'm afraid like, yo, lady, you're gonna die. You do this one more time, you could die, because some lady who's like 80 or 90 years old, she's sitting in cafe and there's another woman who is telling something to her and she's totally agreeing with it and she's like, sorry. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, what I'm trying to say is this like this Czech and Swedish, we seem to have like a lot of in common on that subject, and I don't really understand like Sweden a little bit up north and Czech Republic like really in the middle of Europe, but still it seems to be that we share this sort of common trait. And also, another thing which is very important in Swedish is how you put stress on things. So, for example, like anden or anden, like the same word, but depending on where you put the stress, it means different things. The first thing is a duck, and the other thing is spirit. And yeah, I can only imagine that it's probably very difficult for foreigners, and it might not be so difficult for Czechs. So anyway, there is to finish this off. There is this another another funny way of how people were saying it, that this could be another saying, another speech that is difficult to understand for foreigners, according to some people in the post. And it goes something like, person A, proč ne? And the person B says, the first person, uděláš to teda? And the person B says, and the person A says, mám to teda udělat já? And the person B answers, jo, ne, nevím. And yeah, sure, I think this would definitely make sense in Swedish as well, because you could have like this sort of uh, yeah, yeah, vet inte. It would be like precisely like this. So I wonder, is there somebody out there who could explain why Czech Republic and Sweden seems to share this fascination for at least like a dozen of different ways of saying yes, or sort of a yes no? Is there some connection in that? All right, tell me if you know. It was nice to see you. Lots of hugs. Bye.